a co-host, and then Thomas make a host. Okay, now everyone should be able to join.
One real quick, I think for year one, I think there is someone that cannot access to the Google Drive.
Okay, but I'm not a owner of the drive, so.
I'll share you the file.
Do this as well.
A little bit of troubleshooting, it happens. First time really making a Zoom meeting for everyone. That happens.
I cannot join it as well because I have an access. I need an access.
Yep.
Who has?
Okay.
Can you handle it?
Yeah, I'll do that right now. You guys can start with the lesson for now, and I'll share the Google file again.
Okay, so let me start. Okay, guys, can you see this? Can you see the screen of Python of the slide? Can you guys see it? Okay, great. Let's get started then. Is my voice clear? Okay, let's go. So today will be the first lesson of this program. This program is called Introduction to Python, held by the CityU Hall 2 IT team. My name is Thomas. I am a member of the IT team, and I'll be your instructor of today. Today's lesson, we have a subject called ins and outs with data type. So data type is like the basics of the basic in Python or programming. And also we'll be including some input and output method in this lesson. This lesson is like the foundation of programming or programming in Python. And I think you'll be learning a lot if you have never learned anything about programming before. But even you do, Python is also, if Python is a new language to you, and please also pay attention, since this will be the foundation which will be used throughout the program. So, yeah, I think I just introduced this program. So let's take a look at the program and what we can expect. So this program, you will be spending 1 hour for 5 lessons every other week each. It is very starter friendly. Our aim is to take you from ground zero to being on track. So after this program, you will not be able to become a Python master. Like none of our instructors are consider ourselves as a Python master. All we provide is the starter pack that you will need to start your adventure in Python. So yeah, finish this program, you'll have everything you need to self-learning Python. And I think things will get a bit easier at that moment. So there will be a final project at lesson 5, kind of sum everything up, because like we'll be having 4 lectures, and like a lesson 5, we will be having a project-oriented lecture. So yeah, and for the information about that one, I'll be the people will be talking about that like in the following lessons. So don't you be worried at this moment. Also, for the certification requirements, some of you have asked about this in the WhatsApp group. So in order to get a certification, you need 5 straight attendance, and 1 final project. So that is 5 lessons, 1 hour each. And you need 5 attendance, which is the full attendance, and also 5 final projects to get your certification. Okay, so this will be the schedule of the program. So today's lesson 1, we will be talking about data types in I/O. And on lesson 2, another instructor will be talking about conditional statement and loop, which is another, which is like 2 other very important parts in programming. In lesson 3, we'll be talking about some more practical stuff, as we name it practical section. There'll be a lot of built-in functions, a lot of fun at this lesson. And for lesson 4, we will be making functions by ourselves and also understand the concept of functions and how they work. For lesson 5, it will be a final project lesson, project-oriented lecture. Don't you be worried, we'll be talking about that like in the future lessons. So just mark your calendar. It takes one every week, and all of them will be held on Saturday from 2 to 3, just as we have today. So why are we learning Python? Python is known as the most starter-friendly language. It is very easily to learn. Also, it has direct execution. It is very straightforward from reading the lines of code. You can actually understand what it means, like instantly. And it is also productive and time efficient. Please mind that the time efficient here means that you need relatively less time to code. It is not that it can save a lot of time like at running. It is that you can save the human power. You can use less time to code something. Comparing to with other languages. It is also open source, so which means that there are 200 packages available online in the Python package index. So if you want to make some program, or if you want to make a function, like chances are there have already been someone who already made the package for you. So if you want something, you search it on the internet, and chances are it might be already available on the Python packaging index. It is also a very widespread language. It has wide support and wide resources. Well, since it's very easy to learn, so there is a wide popularity of this language. A lot of people know how to code in Python, so there will be a lot of materials online, a lot of tutorials section online, so which you can discover. Okay. So let's bring it to a more professional level. So where is Python being used in the professional world? So as we said, like Python is a very easy language, but it is actually widely used in this 4 field in the professional level: fintech, machine learning, web backend, and data science. So machine learning is something that people have been talking about like lately. And for like the 2 of the most famous machine learning framework, they are TensorFlow and PyTorch. They're all in Python. They're all adapted with Python really well, and it's really easy to code in Python to adapt machine learning. Relatively easy compared with other languages. So you don't need to like a very deep coding skill. You don't need like a PhD degree to learn machine learning. With Python, it is okay if you learn it as a starter. So also web backend. People have been using web backend for Python these days. It's not because that is very resource efficient. It's because that like human power is kind of expensive, so we want to cut that down. So business are trying to use Python as the backend language. So same thing for data science. So let's meet the team. We are Hall 2 IT team. It is like a whole team in CityU Hall 2. And the instructors are listed below. There are 5 instructors. My name is Thomas. I'll be in charge of today. And also our team leader, Sujin, and supervisor, Dr. Ray. Dr. Ray cannot make it today, but I want to express my sincere thanks to our leader and our supervisor for always being supportive throughout the preparation. Yeah, just a quick thank you thing. Okay, so let's get to the lesson, shall we? Google Colab, can you guys access to the Google Colab now? If you're already able to access the link, please say yes in the chat. Okay, good. So let me give you a tutorial how to do it. So Google Colab, it's a very easy to use IDE. It has no installation required. It's very easy to use. All you need to do is to use a keyboard. You don't need like very deep compiling skills. All you need is to follow the UI. So you can use the link that I've already been provided to you in the WhatsApp group, and you can use the link to access to the worksheet. And after accessing to the worksheet, please pay attention right here. Look at this place. It has saved a copy in the drive. It is below the File tab. So after you click this option, you can actually save this notebook to your own Google Drive. So let me walk you guys through. So this will be the thing that you have given access to. So if I click here, you can see there's a file, and then down here there's a save a copy in Drive. Okay. So then you'll see that another copy will be here. It will comes up like when you log into your Google Drive. So the copy will be saved on your Google Drive. So after you come to this part, you have already successfully saved the notebook in the Google Drive. Please type OK. Yeah. How can I access Google Drive? There is someone that didn't join the WhatsApp group. Can you send a link? Okay, so a quick, how do you access Colab? Great question. So here, I'll use a Ignodio, so to give an introduction. So first you sign in. I already have it in here. Okay, so I'll create a new account. Yeah, then after you open the file, you please save a copy in Drive. So let's see, never user account. I think it will automatically lead you to the Google Colab thing. So, is there any of you that cannot access to Google Colab? Yeah, after you save the file on your Google. Random code in the lesson file. Okay, so what you'll be seeing is this, and then you double click the link, and right here. Then you click here, and you will be seeing that there's an open with Google Collaboratory. And if you don't, you can connect with other apps. If you haven't Google Collab before, you can use Connect More app. And down below, slow. You can search for collab. Then you connect it. So if you guys are done, please type OK in the chat. Okay, good. Let's keep going. If you have any question, there's an we have a TA, we have an assistant here called Ye Wong in the chat, so you can directly contact her if you need any questions. She'll be handling your question directly as the assistant. Okay, so after you get to collab, let's start the lesson, shall we? Okay, so if you have learned programming before, or if you have heard about programming stuffs, you might have already know this program. It's called Hello World. So if there's any of you have learned programming before, please tell me what language that you have learned. C++, Java, Scratch is a kind of programming as well. Just anything. Type anything in the chat, okay, so that I can get a main idea of how much you guys know. Okay, pretty good. So Hello World was originated by Brian Kernighan. So Brian Kernighan is the father or the creator of the C family, C++ and the C language. So he actually came up with his first Hello World program during the development stage of the C language. So this piece of software is very easy. This program is very easy. All it does is to ask the computer to print out Hello World in the output. So let's take a look at Hello World in Python. So this will be the code of Hello World in Python. Very easy. You just need one line. It is print and with the bracket, round bracket, and then inside we got quotation marks, and inside the quotation marks we have Hello World. So let's get to the collab file right here. So before you do anything, there is a connect right here. There's a connect right here. Please click on it. So in collab, there will be text and code. There's like two basic cells type, code and text. So let's take a look. This part, this cell, for this cell, we have print Hello World. This is what we have shown in the PPT file. And then let's run it. To run it, you can click the button right here, or you can set your cursor to anywhere in this cell, and you press Shift and Enter. You can see it'll be running. And after you run it, it will gives you Hello World right here. So it actually does what we are expecting. So what if we want to print something else? So let's print our name, okay? So my name is Thomas. Can I print it with this code? Will it print out Thomas for me? Please type yes if you think I can. Type no if you think I can't. For this code. Okay, so I think some of you got it right. So if you run it, it'll say that no, it is not available because the name not Thomas is not defined. So why it's not defined, we'll be talking about that just in a moment. Okay, so some of you actually raised a good point. You need quotation marks. Yes, because like when you take a look at here, we put hello world inside the quotation mark, and after that we use print to to bound it. So if we run this code, it will give us hello world instead of quotation mark hello world quotation mark. So if we want to print out Thomas or anything, we can just use a quotation mark. Does it make sense? Okay, so this is just a quick, like the first thing you need to know about Python. So that's the first piece of software, or the first piece of program we will be learning today. So let's talk about variables. Lately we have seen that if we just put Thomas in the bracket, it doesn't work. We actually need a pair of quotation marks to bound it for it to print out. Why is it so? So because that without a quotation mark, the name Thomas will be seen as the variable. So what are variables? Think of this concept. So let's say we got a lot of boxes and we want to mail something to our friends. What do? We put the things that we want to mail to our friends in the boxes. So in the programming world, you can only put one thing inside the boxes. Like at this stage, okay, we're only able to put one thing inside the boxes, inside the box. So we will be having a lot of boxes if we want to ship multiple boxes. For the post office to take care of it, we have to label each boxes with my address, the shipping address, and my name, the receiver's name, the recipient's name. So right here, you can see that for the concept that we are having boxes and we are putting objects inside the boxes to shipping. So in the programming world, what we have as boxes, it's called variables. Variables, it's like a thing that you can store things. So we can put objects into the variables, just like we can put things inside boxes. So think about a very easy question. How do you calculate 2 plus 3 equals 5? So in the programming world, it is like kind of abstract, but let's say what you will do in the real world. You put 2 balls in a box. You put 3 balls in another box. Then we put everything from the first box into another empty box. We got 2 already. Then we put another 3 ball, which is already in the second box, in the last box. So you will get 5, right? So in the programming world, it is very similar. Let's say we have a box called X. We have another box called Y. We put the number 2 in X, or the object 2 in X. We also put another object named 3 inside Y, with the value 3 inside Y. And what we are putting into Z is what was in the box X and what was in the box Y. So is that clear? Is that clear now? Okay, so there's so Kumar, can you please message Yewon, for she will be helping you to for the collab, okay? So let's do this real quick. So let's say we said that we are going to put the number 2 in X and then number 3 in Y, right? So it is very simple. We just use X equals 2 and Y equals 3. So we are putting the object 2 in X and object 3 in Y. And then after we run it, remember how to run it? We can click the start button right here, or we can use Shift plus Enter. So after that, we are going to put the result of X plus Y, which is 2 plus 3, equals to X. So let's do X plus Y here. Then if we want to check the value of Z, we will have to print it out. So we mentioned that for print Thomas, without the quotation mark, it will actually be, the computer will actually be looking for a variable called Thomas and then print the value or what was inside the variables out. But if we put a pair of quotation mark in its bound, we can it will be printing out Thomas for us. So in this case, what we want is the variable. So let's just put z without the quotation mark. So right here you can see that what it prints out is a 5. Okay, so if we have no problem, let's take a look at some questions that is very instinct. Okay, so try to answer these questions. Python is a very straightforward language. If you can take a look at the code that I just wrote on addition, you can also try to solve these mathematical problems with Python. So question number 1, what is 99 times 99? Number 2, what is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? And for number 3, what if we add 1 and 2 and 3? This time we have 3 objects. What do we add them together? So I'll give you guys 1 minute, and then I'll be checking the answer with you guys. So one more thing for the first question, please, for 99 times 99, please code right here in this cell. For the second question, you can code in this cell. For the third question, please code it in this cell. And also know that I've already put some notations here. If you can follow it, follow it. If you have no idea how to do it, do the way that works. In programming, there will be a lot of make things works. And if it works, it works. So you need to, you can optimize it, but as long as it works, it is correct. Okay, let's check the inserts. So for this example of 2 plus 3 equals to 5, we set x to 2, we set y to 3, or we're going to say we put the object 2 inside x, we set the object 3 into y. Okay, I've already seen some answers, and let's check it out together. So for the first question, we are trying to do 99 plus 99. So for x, we definitely have to put 99 in the first box, right? You think of the box concept. And then you can put y, you can put another 99 into y. And what we did was z equals to x plus y. But this time we are doing multiplication. So let's do z equals to x times y. So x times y. So in programming, the multiplication is often the star sign. And then we print out z. Let's see the answer. So it is 9,801. So all of you that have typed something in the chat got the answer. Very good. And then for the second question, we'll be trying is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So what do we do this time? Let's put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in x. And then 6 to 1 to y. But what do we do to print it out? So another thing we can do here is we can put x plus y here. So we are actually putting in an object. The object will have similar to x plus y. You can think of it as like a virtual box or something. If we run it, it will also show 777, 777. So that will be 6 sevens right here. But what if it narrowed down to only one variables? So like we won't be having a lot of boxes. We will be having only limited boxes, right? What can we do in the real world is we reuse the boxes. So in programming world, we can also reuse the variables. So in this case, we'll be only use one variable. Let's check how we do it. So from 1 to 3, we are adding them up together. But first, we put the first object, which is 1 to x. And for a second object, we can do something is put 2 into x as well, right? This time we can put multiple things into the box. So let's try x equals x plus 2. What does this line mean? It actually means that the value of x will be equals to the original value of x plus 2. So it is actually very similar to x plus y, but we are only using one variable at this time. Okay, so what about the third one? We can, of course, same way fashion, use x equals x plus 3. And if we run it, it will be 6. But there's one thing we can use, because like this thing is super, I don't know about you, but I don't think this is like very neat. So what you can do is, another way to write this line is x plus equals 3. So how to understand this line is putting 3 into x, or adding the object 3 into x. So when you run it again, it will be also equals to 6. So there is one question. Can we put everything into this cell and then also get the same answers? So let's try it. We copy this part, paste this part, copy the second cell, paste it here, then copy the lines in the third cell, also paste it here. After we run it, we'll get the same answers. Why? Because as we said that we only have limited boxes, we only have limited variables. So we can also always reuse them to save our resources or our memories. So just a quick look at a quick review at variables. So let's say my name is called Lily, okay? So if we want to print Lily, what we are doing is to print, and then in the bracket we are putting a Lily with the quotation mark bounded. We run it, we get Lily. But for print Lily, without the quotation mark, the computer will be actually looking for a variable or a box, as we described, called Lily. But you can see that we have not yet put anything in the box, which means that there is no box with the label Lily. So how do we do this? We can use another line, or we can add something right here, like Lily equals 1. So if we print Lily, it will actually be printing out 1, which is the value of the variable called Lily. So that is something that you want to keep an eye on when you're programming. So, is there any problem? If there is any question, you can always type in the chat. Ask me or Yewang if you need any assistance, okay? So variables, we have already finished it. And let's get to data types. So we talked about that we can put objects into variables, which means we can put things into boxes. So data type is the category or the classification of the things or the objects. We can put many things in the in a box. Also, we can put many type of data or many objects into variables. So the first one we'll be talking about is strings, since we are very familiar with that already. String objects are bounded with quotation marks, as some of you who brought it up. A text will be a string object when you have a quotation mark with it. So also remind that a space, like we have here, or in the hello world example, a space is also a character. So we'll leave this line for now, and we'll talk about that later. So we talked about the addition in for numbers, right? For like 2 plus 3 equals 5. But what about for strings? So if you want to join two strings, if you want to connect them together, all you need to do is to add an addition sign. So if I have string A plus string B, it will be the connection of them. So what about multiplication? Multiplication also works for strings also. So the operator multiplication sign, what you'll need to do is you use a string times multiplication, a string times 3. So you can actually see that this will actually duplicate for 3 times. So it means that simply means duplication of the it means duplication of a string. So let's give it a try right here. So please move it down to the string part right here on your own notebook. So first we have hello world, but this time we are not strictly printing out hello world. Instead, we will be storing it in X or a variable, or we can say it's a box. So let's print it. So you can see that it is the same as what we have done hello world, but this time we're storing it in X. So X will be the variable will be storing an object of strings, which call hello world. So what we want to demonstrate addition. So this time we can put hello world separately. We put hello in X and world in Y. And we can print out X plus Y. As we mentioned earlier, this statement works. So if we run it, we'll get the same thing. We talk about that space is also a character. So if you delete a space here, and then you rerun it, you can see that there will be no spaces between the comma and world. But if you add 1 space or 2 spaces, what you have is, after you run it, it can have 2 spaces right here. So also remember, though it's kind of straightforward, space is also a character. So let's give a demonstration on multiplication on strings. So we said that we can join two strings by addition. So this time we set X to hello, comma, and a space. And then we add the world into the X. So, and we print out X times 7. So what can we expect? We can expect 7 hello worlds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so if you want to span your friend's computer, you can use print like 1,000 times or something. Okay. Left out in the slides, we haven't talked about the character /n yet. So character /n, it means line change, or like in any document, you press enter to skip lines, right? So /n simply means after it print out hello world, it will be entering another line. So for this cell, we will be having the very similar code right here, but after world, we will be having a /n, which is the line skipping character. And then we'll print it out 7 times. So what can we expect now? Let's run it. So as we've seen here, you can see that there will be 7 hello worlds listed from bottom to the top. You can actually very easily count them because like there are 7 lines. Each line only has 1 hello world. So that will be it for strings. Is there any question? If there's any question, you can always throw it in the chat. So for the 3 plus 3 equals 33 thing, we will be talking about that in just a moment. Okay, integer and float. So we talked about that, this operation of string, and we have this discussion about the data type in string. But what about integer and float? So in integer and float, it is actually number data type, but they are different. So integers has no digit below decimal point, while the float data type has digits below the decimal point. So anything with a decimal will be a float. So for example, you can see that 2 here is an integer. And 2.0 here is a float. So what this actually means that these two are the same in value. 2 equals 2.0. Well, that's math, right? But if you're comparing it in the aspect from the aspect of data type, they're actually different because 2 is an integer and 2.0 is a float. So just as what you can do in math with like a pen and paper calculation, these are some operators that you can use. Addition, the plus sign. Subtraction, the minus sign. Multiplication, the star sign. And division, the slash. And also, we'll be talking about modulo in just a moment. So now, let's take a look at the integer and float part. So we'll be printing two things, okay, here. The first line, we'll be printing 2 and 3. For the next line, we'll be also printing 2 and 3, but this time we are going to bound 2 and 3 with quotation marks. So you'll see there will be two answers. For the first answers, 2 plus 3 equals 5. Well, that makes sense because that's math, right? Well, when it comes to the second line, if we are printing out the addition of the string 2 and the string 3, it gives us 22. It has nothing to do related to math. It is actually have to do with the string. So we talked about that in addition. The addition of strings can connect two strings together. So what if we do if we connect the string 2 and string 3? We get 2 and 3, right? Because it's in sequence. You can actually read it in form of 23. But it's actually a character 2 and a character 3. So always remember that if you are putting quotation marks, they are strings. And if you don't have a quotation mark, you have just pure numbers. They will be in form of numbers, whether they're integers or float. Okay, so there's another thing that I want to talk about. It's the type function. So type function look a little bit like this: type with a bracket. And with a bracket, you know that you got to put something in there, right? So whatever puts in there, the type function will give us the class or the data type of that object or that variable. So first of all, let's store 2 plus 3, which equals 5. We have it right here in X. And 2 plus Y, the 2 plus 3, the string 2 plus the string 3 in Y, which we are expected to get 2, 3 in string. And we are going to print out type X and then type Y. And be sure to print it out or else you will not see the output. If you won't see the output, you print it. Okay, so let's print it and see what happens. So you can actually see that there are 2 lines. The first line said the class is int, which indicates the data type of X is actually int. So the second line says that class is str, which is string, which verified that Y is the data type of Y is a string. So let's do something like a bit more. Let's try out 7 divided by 3. Okay. So it's very easy. I will not be giving you time. You can work along with as I'm doing it. Okay. It's very simple. We have already practiced about it, like in the first section. So in the first line we have X equals 7. We are putting the object 7 into the box X. And then in the second line, we have Y equals 3. As we said that this is putting the number 3 or the object 3 inside the box or the variable Y. So right here, we can just simply print 7 divided by 3. Let's check it out. So you can see that the result will be 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. Well, you might be asking that why does it end with 5? Well, this is actually a good question. One of the members of the participant actually threw the question out in the chat, I think a few days earlier, and one of our instructor Yvonne have posted an answer. If you want to learn about this, you can go check it out after this class. So you can see that x is an integer, right? Because like 7 is not a float; it has no decimal point. So we can like know that it's an integer, and y is also an integer because we see no decimal point right here. But after you print the value 7 divided by 3, you get a float, which is 2.333, a lot of 3s. Okay, so yeah, just a quick example. Integer division. So this thing is also very important. In C++ or in Java, what we get with 7 divided by 3 is actually 2. But in Python, since the variable does not, you don't have to define the data type when you are initiating a variable. So it actually can change the data type along the way. So it will be kind of like as something you gotta keep in mind if you are coming from another language of programming. So integer division. So let's put it back to let's say elementary school. What do we do if we see 7 divided by 3 and the teacher wants us to solve this problem? So what we will do is we draw 7 balls. Okay. And let's group them by the number of 3. So we have the first group here, the second group here, and then we have one left. We cannot group any balls into 3s anymore. So in here we are having the quotient 2 and the remainder 1. But how in the world are we going to get the quotient and the remainder in Python? So what you can do is use, there's a function called int, which can convert the data type of something back to the integer if it is available. Like say if we convert 2.5, it will be converted back to 2. It will be like cut down everything below the decimal point. So it will not run up to, it will not be rounding up or cutting down, like whether it's about 5 or something. And also to get the remainder, which is 1 in this case, we can use the modulo operator, which is a percentage sign. So 7 percentage 3 or 7 modulo 3, 7 mod 3 will actually get 1. So let's take a look at this part. So first we want to get the quotient. We use 7 divided by 3, and then we want to get the remainder. We use 7 percentage sign 3. And then we run it. Okay, we got what we want as 1, right? But in here, what we want was 2. We don't want anything below the decimal point. So what we have mentioned right here is we can convert 7 divided by 3 from float into integer. So what we can do is type int and then use a pair of bracket to run it up. Then printing it, we get 2. So if you have a big number, really big number, and you happen to not have a calculator beside, you can always use collab. I mean, that's kind of stupid. We all have like smartphones these days. Okay, any of you have any questions? Let's keep going. So let's talk about something called Boolean. So Boolean is a 2-value data type. like many other things on the world, it is true or false. It is either true or false. So why do we need this simple like a Boolean data type? Think about this case, like if we are going to program for like a Tesla, a self-driving module for Tesla. If we wanted to sense the traffic light by itself. So when the light turns red, we want it to stop, and if the light is not red, we want the car to keep going. So a Boolean object is the best to store an object if it is rather yes or no. So this is just a brief example. In the next lesson, when we are talking about conditional statements and loops, we'll be taking a huge portion of Boolean at that point. It'll be very useful. So we have already talked about how to do some math problems. So let's get some more math problems. So we can actually check, we can actually use Boolean to check the validity of like a line of math. So let me throw you a few questions here. Is 2 larger than 3? Is 2 smaller than 3? Is 2 plus 3 equals to 5? So let's take a look. So what you can think of very easily is you just type x larger than 5, and then you print it. So same way fashion, you can always use x smaller than y, then you print it. And then let's go to the last line. You can see x plus y equals 5. So why there are 2 equals, I'll be talking about that later, but let's run it first. Okay, so the first output will be false. Why? Because 2 is smaller than 3. So x is smaller than y. So the first question, x is larger than y, is definitely a false. The second line, we were trying to print out x, is x smaller than y. The answer is true, and it's correct. So for the last line, it's a bit awkward, but you can see that it's x plus y equals to 5. The answer is true. So you can see that 2 plus 3 equals to 5. This statement is actually correct. So why do we need 2 equal sign instead of 1? You can actually delete one of them and then run it again. It will actually not work because that when we are using 1 equal sign, you'll see right here, we are putting objects or values into variables or boxes. So if we want to state the validity of equality, we have to use another sign. But that is equal sign, right? So we just add another equal sign. Like this. Is it okay for you guys? Very simple, very simple. Okay, so let's talk about inputs. So we have already covered about output. Then what about input? So let's take a look at some code that I've already written. First, we use the function input. We put a text into input as we put some text in print. So if you run it, it actually gives you the output of name and artist you like, which is the first line, which is the string that I put inside input. And then you can see that in here, we can type something, but don't press enter yet, okay? In here, we are putting the input into A for use of later. So if you just type input without storing it into a variable, you will not be able to access that value or that data later. So what we want to do is to store it in A. Then to check the value, we can print A, and then we can also print A plus is surely a beloved artist. So let's give it a try. Let's say my favorite artist is One Direction. and we press enter. So you can see that for the first line of output right here, this is the input, note that. And this is the output, the first output. We print A. So A, which is the input that we just given to the computer, which is one direction. So if we print A out, it will be outputting one direction. And if we put, if we want to print one direction, added with some text or strings, we were told that the addition in strings is actually connecting two strings together into a longer one. So in here, we can say that A is surely a beloved artist, or One Direction is sure a beloved artist. So, is it clear for you guys? So let's sum everything up with the last example. So say that we want to build a calculator adding two objects. So what you'll need is you have to ask the user to input two numbers, and then you have to output the sum of the two numbers. So how do you do it? I was about to give you guys some time, but I think since we are kind of out of time right now, I'll just give you guys the answer. So first we have input. And then in the bracket of input, we can always give the user some hint, okay? If we don't give them the hint, how in the world are they going to know what they will be providing to the computer? So let's say number 1 is, or the first number. The first number is that done? No, because we have to store it into a variable. So let's say A equals to input. The first number is. So we need another variable, another input statement to store the second input, right? So we can use B equals input. The second number is. So then after we have it, we can store the answer of A plus B inside another variable called Z. A plus B. Or we can just simply print A plus B. So after we run it, we'll be seeing that the first number, let's do the same thing, okay? 2 plus 3. Very simple. 2. The second number is 3. So then it will be printing out 23. Does this seem familiar to you guys? Yes, because like what we said that is, if we see the summation of 2 plus 3 equals to 23, it's not 23, it's text 23. So we have to convert the value of A plus B into integers. So let's do this. So from this one, you can know that storing the object 2 into A, 2 is actually a string. So whereas a string plus a string will equals to a string. So what we have to do is we can use int and bound with A, and also another int to bound with B to convert the data type of string to a number. That's it, and we'll type 2 or 3 again. This time we get 5. Okay, last question. What if we want some like keywords, like the result is 5? Let's try it. We can type the result is 5. Can we? No, because this will be they will be finding the keywords in the library, but that's not what we want. We want to print the text. So what we have to do is to use a quotation mark to round them up. So we can always use plus, right? Let's run it. 2 plus 3. You can see that there is an error right here on line 3. It says that it must be string, not int. So why? Because we have already converted A to integer, and also B to integer. So can we plus two things together? While the first thing is string, and the second thing is an integer. No, you can't. So what we have to do is convert the number 5 into a string. Okay, I added a 5 here. Okay, so what we have to do is to use str for string, and then, sorry. So here, we have to the integer a plus integer b. So what we can do is we can cut it and then use str for string. In the bracket, we paste what we have cut it in there. So that's a lot of conversion, right? We convert it from string to int, and then we convert it from int to string. So let's run it, print it out. The first number is 2. The second number is 3. So the result is 5. Okay, I think the time is up. That will be everything we have for this lesson. There are some bonus content right here. It's about list. I think in the future lessons, the instructor will also be talking about this. But you can also visit here if you want to learn something more. And also in the notebook, there are some descriptions of what you should do and why, and it's just a hint for you. And there are also some descriptions. So you can actually take this notebook without the PowerPoint. So let's just give a quick briefing of what we have covered today. So first we talk about Hello World, which is the first program or the first software right here, which is output. So, and then we talk about variables. We talk about how to add two numbers together to get the result. We also try some multiplications, how to use less variables, how to use only one variables. So for this part, we also emphasize that how is a text different with a variable or the label of the box. So then we talked about data type, which is another like keywords of today's lesson. We talk about strings and how to use addition and multiplication. We also covered numbers, which are integers and float, and how they are different with strings, and what we can do to check the data type of an object. And we have also talked about how to get quotient and remainders if you want to do some integer division. And we talked about a little bit about Boolean, true and false, whether it is true and it is false. We'll be talking about that next lesson more explicitly. So please do come back by then. So the last topic we'll talk about is input and how do we input something and store it, and then print it out or use it in the future. And we sum up everything with an example. This one is actually covers everything we covered: input, variables, output, the addition of strings, and also addition of numbers, and also the conversion from numbers to strings. So that will basically be it for this lesson. After this class, there will be another. There will be one collab document with the answers, the correct answers, will be provided on the link. We'll post it in the Google folder. Okay, there's a question. Why do we use plus equals instead of equals? Okay, very good question. So let's take a look at it in here. So in this part, we first assign x to hello, and then we use plus equals row instead of x plus row. So the original form of this one is x equals x plus row. But if you said that, why do we use plus equals instead of equals? Because they are different. So if we do x equals hello and then x equals row, and then print it, we can see that it's row, 7 rows. So what is it is that we have already put hello inside x. So what does x equals mean is that like we are using this to, or we are using row to replace what was in hello. Another question for the last question here is this part means refer to string in only that line. So what we have talked about is int a plus int b is an integer, right? Because we need to, because a right here is a string. And then if we are trying to convert it into, we have to convert it into integer so we can do the addition, or it will be 23. So in here, we are int a plus int b right here is actually a number, or 5. So let's do it separate lines. Let's run it. So 2 plus 3 equals to 5. But what if we want to add the 5 with other strings? We have to convert it back to strings. So what you can do is to take this object. We know that this equals to 5. This equals to 5, right? So we can put it inside string, the string function, which means that it will be converting 5 from integer to a string. So if only the data types are the same, you can add them together. Well, in terms of strings. So if you print 2 and 3, it will be 5 because like it can be adding together. So what if we don't use string? I think we have already showed that, but it actually gives you an error that it must be string, not an int. So any more questions do we have? If you have any questions, please feel free to fill it out at us. We'll try our best to answer it. But since we are toward the end, I'll have to quickly end this lesson. So there will be another event called Special Hall Night Talk, which is also held by Hall 2. This session is actually about blockchain, which is a very overwhelming topic in IT these days. And this person, Dr. Ma, is actually a very good, prominent expert in the field of blockchain. So please feel free to join us if you're available. And please come back next time as we're going to talk about more about conditional statement and loop. And if you haven't take your attendance yet, please make sure to take the attendance because we'll be only giving the certificate to those who have strict attendance. So that'll be it. Thank you guys for joining us. We will be seeing you guys after 2 weeks. See ya. So if you have any question, either it's about what we have talked about today, you can stay here and ask us. Feel free to turn on your mic. And if you have anything you want to ask about the program or the future lessons, you can also ask us right now. So if there's no question, we'll be closing the meeting in 5 minutes. Yeah, and also please remember to take the attendance. Okay, so there's a question. Can we put string in front of a sentence instead of a quotation mark? Well, let's try it. So let's say if we want to print Lily, okay, well, we said that is we use print quotation mark, put Lily inside, right? And of course, it will give us Lily. So your question is that can we put print? Oh yeah, I'm not sharing it. Oh, okay. Can you see it now? Can you see it? The string here? Okay. So here we use print Lily. So it is actually printing the text. But what you're asking is if we can use string instead of the quotation mark. The quick answer is no, and I'll be talk about it like right now. Print Lily. Of course, it works because like in front of it we have something called Lily. Well, let's not use Lily. Let's say my name is Lee. Okay, print Lee. And if we want to print Lee, it will be not working because the name Lee is not defined. We have no variables called Lee. So what you're asking is we can use str run of Lee, right? So you can see that it also showed up that Lee is not defined. So why? It's because that whatever you want to put in a function or in the bracket, it has to be a defined variable or it has to be an object. So what you can see right here is that if we use Lee as an with a quotation mark and then use string, it will actually print it out as Lee. Why? Because like if we convert string into a string, is a string. So let me just give a brief example of how to use string. We can use 1, 2, 3. So it will be 1, 2, 3. So let's try this. What if I print out string 1, 2, 3 plus str 4? What will it be? 123 plus 4 equals to 127, right? But now since we are converted to string, we are actually looking at the string 1, 2, 3. So this thing, the string 1, 2, 3, is actually equals to this 1, 2, 3, the string 1, 2, 3. As you see, the answer will be the same. So I hope it answered your question. Any question from you guys? If you have any question, please put it up. We will be ending. Okay, so right now I will be ending the meeting. Thank you guys for joining. Hope to see you guys in the next lesson, which is 2 weeks later. See you guys.